It is a great day here in the Chattahoochee Valley, and you are watching another episode of Columbus Connection, where it is our job to keep you connected with Columbus. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. Please don't change the channel. We'll be right back.
Hi there, everybody in Columbus, Georgia. Deborah Roberts here on the 2020 set, getting ready for our program tonight. But I wanted to take a minute to say it is an absolute privilege to serve as one of the honorary chairs for the Liberty Theater Centennial Gala. This iconic venue has hosted legendary performers who have shared the landscape and shaped the landscape there with music and entertainment. The energy, of course, of Duke Ellington and the electrifying performances of Cab Calloway right there on the Liberty stage. These artists, among many others, have contributed to the rich legacy of the Liberty Theater, as so many of you know. Each performance has been a celebration of talent, of creativity, and the unifying power of music. So, as we commemorate this incredible centennial milestone, we want to invite all of you to be a part of this celebration. And it's not just about honoring the past, it's also about ensuring a vibrant future as we reimagine the rebirth of this historic Liberty Theater. The most important thing you all can do right now is to purchase tickets for the gala. It's going to be held on Friday, April 11th, and this is your chance to join in on a night filled with entertainment, memories, and a tribute to the legacy of this amazing venue. So don't miss out, get your tickets, and all of us should just come together to celebrate 100 years of unforgettable performances and community spirit. So let's make this a night to remember. And I just want to wish you all the best as we link arms for the Liberty Theater.
It is a great day right here in the Chattahoochee Valley. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Columbus Connection. I am your host, Chris Kelly. You know, it's my job to sit down with the best and the brightest and talk about the great things that are happening right here in the Chattahoochee Valley. And today is no exception. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the platform today, none other than Mr. Oz Roberts. How are you doing, sir? I'm doing well. Thank you so much for coming by.
Absolutely. And congratulations on your
Absolutely.
music wedding.
Yeah. So recently on Saturday, actually, ladies and gentlemen, I was married to the lovely Keisha Kelly. And so that's what he's referring to. And thank you so much for your long support and love and prayers and all of that. It was definitely felt, even though you couldn't be there.
Right.
But I'm not here to talk about me. I'm here to talk about you and what you have going on. But before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about Oz Roberts, the man. Where are you from? How have you been? Life, where it's taken you, and what got you to this point?
Well, I am born and raised right here in Columbus, Chris. I've been here all my life. I went to elementary school, middle school, high school here. I went to UGA, came back to Columbus. I have a degree in graphic design.
Okay.
And I love, and at UGA, I was on committees that put things together.
Wow.
So I like putting things together. I like organizing. So I did that. I got back to Columbus, got a job with the city for about 6 months, and I started working at Communicorp, which is a subsidiary of Aflac.
Okay.
And I've been at Aflac for a few weeks.
Okay.
I've been at Aflac. I'm actually celebrating 40 years, believe it or not. I started when I was 5.
Congratulations.
But I've been at Aflac for a little over 40 years there. And I produce corporate events for Aflac for about 35 of those. And for the last 2 years, I've been the Aflac historian.
Many of the viewers, obviously including myself, have been a part of the Liberty Theater district story. I've done a couple of shows to raise funds for the Liberty Theater. Can you talk a little bit about the history of the Liberty Theater, what it meant not only to the quote unquote Black community, but the community of Columbus at large?
Absolutely. So the Liberty Theater was opened its doors in 1925. And that was the first place I actually saw a movie, was there. My father actually took tickets at the Liberty Theater, so I have a long history with the Liberty. I was down there. My father also managed the Masonic Temple, which is a couple of streets over, and so I was in that area the whole time. You know, we talk about, I did a little videotaping a couple of weeks ago about people that actually went to the Liberty Theater and what it meant to them. And for me, it was very similar. Is that it was a safe haven at the time, because we could actually go in and have 6 RC Cola bottle caps and
Wow.
get in. RC had that little gimmick going, and that would allow you to get into watch a movie.
Wow.
I know Ollie Marie Gibson, I mentioned in a little video that with her family, it was a safe haven as well, because you can bring the kids there, knew they were going to be safe.
Right.
They can watch movies all day, get popcorn and sodas, and just spend the day there watching movies.
Right.
So but the Liberty Theater itself, like I said, opened in 1925. It was a movie house when it first opened by the Martin family. Then it transitioned into a performance space where the greats like Cab Calloway, Duke Ellington, Ella Fitzgerald, Lena Horne, of course, Ma Rainey,
Right.
all performed on that Liberty Theater stage.
Right.
So, and a gentleman by the name of D.P. Nesbitt,
Okay.
who I'm going to actually go and speak to his daughter today, managed the Liberty Theater. He was really good friends with my father. And so he brought in a lot of those greats.
Wow.
He was very instrumental in the longevity of the theater and bringing in all the great performers to perform for the community. But the Liberty Theater was opened 10 years before the Apollo Theater.
Wow.
And most people know the Apollo Theater up in Harlem.
Right. Correct.
And the greats that performed there.
Right.
So so the Liberty was on what was called the Chitlin Circuit, where they could actually leave the Apollo and go around the country
Right.
to performance spaces that were kind to them.
Right.
So the Liberty was one of those spaces. So that's how you got all those greats to kind of come down to Columbus to perform.
Now, this was during a time when it first opened. Was this during segregation?
Yeah, oh, of course.
Okay.
Yes.
So this was during segregation.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
What exactly happened? I mean, you go from a once glorious theater and it's booming and top of the line entertainment, et cetera. What exactly happened for it to fall, into the standing or status that it's in today?
I don't really know exactly what happened.
Okay.
I can't say exactly what happened because the community has rallied around it multiple times. I know I'm on the Liberty Theater Board now. I'm vice chair of the Liberty Theater Board. They created a board about 2 years ago when the deed was transferred to the city. So it's a city-owned property now.
Okay.
Which is totally different than it was before.
Okay.
So and before, I talked to several people that you had to, like most places, you've got to pay the bills, you've got to do performances, you got to bring people into the house.
Right. So
now it's in a little bit better footing, I would say, because it is a city-owned property.
Okay.
Mimi Woodson is the chair.
Okay.
I'm vice chair.
Okay.
And so we're just trying to get the Liberty Theater back to where it needs to be, to the glorious place that it needs to be.
Right.
And that's why we're celebrating the centennial of the Liberty Theater.
Wow. So 1925.
1925.
Talk about the event that is coming up, the celebration.
Absolutely.
And how we can get involved. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Well, we
100
have
years.
100 years. So we've got several events scheduled during this celebratory season. We've got, we had last weekend, we had a 5K race.
Okay.
We've got a press conference next Thursday that'll be at 11 o'clock, right in front of the Liberty Theater itself.
Okay.
Our historic kickoff is an event that's going to celebrate kind of that decade. We'll have some food trucks and some entertainment. That'll be on the grounds of the Liberty Theater. That's on April the 5th.
Okay.
On April the 11th is another event that I'm actually chairing, which is the Liberty Theater Centennial Gala.
Okay.
And what we're trying to do with the gala is to spotlight some local talent, but also some national talent, people that may have been here for a while, that may have played at the Liberty, performed at the Liberty, but that may have called Columbus home at some point. So we've got Donna Biscoe, who was born and raised here in Columbus. You might have seen her most recently on 688, which is the Tyler Perry film. She played the mother in that film. She's coming back to be a part of it.
Wow.
Michael Stiggers, who went to Columbus State University. He performed on Broadway. He several shows on Broadway, but he played Simba in The Lion King on Broadway.
Wow.
Now he's back in Atlanta.
That's
He's
awesome.
going to perform.
Yeah.
We've got Willa Boast.
Okay.
Now Willa's story is a little different in that Willa actually physically worked at the Liberty Theater early in her career.
Wow.
Willa's from Lumpkin, Georgia.
Okay.
And so she actually worked there physically at the theater. Then she went on and moved up to Atlanta and then on to New York. So she's actually in New York right now.
Okay.
And she actually most recently, she played on played in Pearlie on Broadway, and most recently in Our Town. And I got a chance to see her in Our Town several weeks ago. So she did an amazing job there.
Wow.
And then we've got Kelsey Hollis, who was Miss Georgia 2022, who spent a lot of her time here in Columbus when she won the crown of Miss Georgia. And then we have Wendy Wyatt. Wendy Wyatt is an incredible gospel singer. I think she's a Dove Award winner.
Right.
And Wendy's going to perform for us as well.
Wow.
But we've got several other people that's going to perform. We've got Bianca Alomar. And Bianca actually won the Liberty Theater talent show.
Yes, I know
physically at the Liberty Theater. The Black Swope Society from Columbus State University, they're going to perform. Musumi Bahande, she's an Indian dancer. She has an Indian school where she teaches Indian kids to dance their native dances.
Wow.
So and the reason that she's here is because we really want to be inclusive with the Liberty when it opens.
Right.
It's not just for the African American community, although that's the primary focus, or it has been over the years. But we want to be inclusive because it's Liberty Theater Cultural Center. So culturally, we want to make sure that we're inclusive of everybody in the community. We've got Lloyd Buchanan. Everybody knows Lloyd.
Absolutely.
Buchanan and his incredible vocals. A guy by the name of Jerry Farber. You may or may not know Jerry, but Jerry is a comedian. He lived here for a long time. He's in Atlanta now, but Jerry performs at the Loft quite a bit. But Jerry's going to perform for us as well. Julian Leak, who actually sang at my wedding.
Yeah, I know Julian well.
Yeah,
yes,
Julian Leak, incredible vocalist. And then we got Mercedes Lewis, who's an incredible vocalist as well,
she is, absolutely.
gospel singer. And Kenny Thomas. Kenny Thomas was in the military here years ago, and he formed a country band called Cornbread. And he went on from here up to Nashville, and then he was in part of the troop, the military troop that was in Black Hawk Down. So he now is on the speakers circuit as well for that. But Kenny, when I was reaching out to him about, I'm doing something called the Columbus. It's a list of creatives. And not necessarily performance creatives, but artistic creatives. And I was reaching out to him to get his recent bio and headshot to include on that list. And Kenny actually agreed to come down to perform. Because of what we were doing for the Liberty.
Oh,
so
that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
so we got
awesome.
lots of support and buy-in from that.
That's awesome. What is the date again?
Friday, April the 11th.
April the 11th.
And we're going to have for the sponsors, we're going to have a nice VIP reception beforehand, where we'll be able to kind of meet some of the people that's performing in the event itself. That's a VIP reception. But the gala starts at 6:30. You can get tickets at libertytheaterga.org or libertytheaterga.com. You got to put the GA. If you don't put the GA, because there's several other Liberty theaters around the country.
So this will be dinner and concert, basically.
That's exactly right.
Wow.
That's exactly. We're going to do some storytelling as well.
I was going to ask that if there was going to be any like reenactments of
not necessarily
some of the.
Yeah, not necessarily reenactments, but I guess you could call it that, because Michael Stiggers is going to do an ode to Cap Calloway.
Nice.
Nice. And Willa Bose is going to do something dealing with Ma Rainey. Rainey's performances. And the host for the event is AJ Calloway. You might know him from 106 and Park and Extra. So he's going to be doing that. But again, to make sure that we don't skip over all these other events that we've got, because the centennial celebration is on the 11th. The 12th, the very next day, we've got a huge film community here. And since the Liberty opened as a film house, we're going to have a little short film festival. That's going to be over at the Columbus Library. On April 26th, Developing Talent. AZ Lawrence, who's an incredible vocalist and performer here, is coordinating the talent show. We'll have a talent show that's going to be over at the Page Dolman building. We've got an afternoon of jazz on May 3rd. That's going to be at the Getch's house. And then
is that a Sunday? Or
that's
is it
you know what?
May 3rd.
May 3rd. I think it may be a Sunday.
I think it is.
I think it is a Sunday, because I think the talent show is before that. And then we also do some collaborations. AZ Lawrence is having something that she's calling Ma Fest. An ode to Ma Rainey. A Black Bottom experience, where she's bringing all of these incredible vocalists in to perform at this, and it's going to be on the grounds
Okay.
of the Liberty as well, and that's on May 9th through the 11th.
Through the 11th. Okay.
Down there, and I think the cost was $75.
Okay.
I think, but it may have gone up now, but I think it was $75.
Okay.
And then we're also doing a collaboration with Davis Broadcasting for
Okay.
a gospel explosion or gospel extravaganza
Mhm.
that's going to be down at Woodruff Park,
Okay.
and that's going to be on May 17th.
Okay. Now I know that people who are watching are very interested in this. What is the ticket prices for the gala?
The gala is the centennial price.
Yes. Okay.
$100.
I got you.
That's the centennial price.
That's good. I like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But again, for what they're getting,
Mhm.
and to support the Liberty, any funds that we get,
Mhm.
all the funds go to the city.
Okay.
The city, if you want to make a donation, you can make it to Columbus Consolidated Government
Mhm.
and earmark it for the Liberty Theater,
Okay.
because we're going to need to have funds to do all of our programming
Right.
and to actually physically get the building done.
Right.
Right now, if you drive by, the
Mhm.
Liberty has a fence around it.
Yep. It
It's
does.
because we've got work going on.
Okay.
Over the past several years, sadly, the roof leaked.
Mhm.
So the city, now that it's owned, the city is owning it, is going to repair the roof
Mhm.
and install a new HVAC system,
Mhm.
and take care of all those other things. And then we'll kind of go in there and assess what we need to do.
Okay.
And the intent is for us to really make it a top-notch facility,
Right.
so that people can actually kind of come in and say, Chris, if you want to have a nice little set one night, we want to
Yeah.
bring some people in and sing, we'll have some lights there just for you to be able to kind of do that, and some mics,
Right.
so that you can kind of come in, not spend an arm and a leg,
Right.
to be able to perform,
Right.
and for people to kind of come and use that
Yeah.
space as kind of developmental space.
Yeah.
I've had a
Yeah.
conversation with a guy named Jeff Hudson, who actually wants to start a film academy there
Yeah.
as well.
No, that'd be awesome, because I know during Black History Month we would have some showings there and some
Absolutely.
displays of small businesses, and I remember performing there.
Absolutely.
This was probably back in 2018, 2019, and so it's sad to see where it is today. But really quickly before we close, and again, I thank you for your time.
Sure.
Can you give us the dates one more time? How people can get involved, where they can donate if they choose to do that, and of course attend as well.
Absolutely. Go to libertytheaterga.org or libertytheaterga.com. And if you go there, it'll have all of the events
Mhm.
surrounding the Liberty celebration that we're celebrating the Liberty there.
Okay.
But again, next Thursday we've got a press conference at 11 o'clock. That's on the grounds
Okay.
of the Liberty Theater.
Mhm.
We've got a historic kickoff. That's on April 5th.
Mhm.
That's on the grounds of the theater. On April the 11th, we've got the Centennial Gala that we talked about a minute ago. That's going to be at the Columbus Convention and Trade Center. On April 12th, we've got the Film Festival. That's going to be start at 1 o'clock. That's going to be at the library, the main library. April 26th, we've got a talent show.
Okay.
That's going to be at the Page Dolman Building. And Afternoon of Jazz is on May 3rd. That's going to be at the Getch's House.
Okay.
MaFest from 9 through the 11th of May will be on the grounds of the Liberty Theater.
Okay.
And then the Gospel Extravaganza, with a collaboration with Davis Broadcasting, will be out on May 17th at Woodruff Park. Yeah. And so those are the events that we have right now. But again, we want the community to celebrate it. I mean, how many buildings do you know in the community that can say they've been around for 100 years?
Right.
And
Right.
especially that has the history
Right.
that we need to have here in Columbus.
Right.
And it's not just us. I've got several friends outside of Columbus that have been celebrating with us. The Fox Theater, anybody in Atlanta knows the Fox Theater.
Oh, yeah.
But the Fox Foundation is incredibly supportive of what we're doing down here as well. So, because they want to make sure that, historical theaters, specifically historically Black theaters,
Right.
are maintained.
Right.
Because that's history. And once that history is gone, it is gone.
Just really quick,
Sure.
before and I have to ask this. Is the theater a part of the, is it covered under the Historical Preservation Act?
It is.
Okay.
It was put on the historic registry, I think, in 1984.
Because there's funding there, is why I mentioned it. There's
That's right.
funding for repair, et cetera,
That's exactly
for
right.
that. Are we tapping into that?
We are tapping into that.
Okay.
That's exactly
Okay,
right.
good.
I think part of it is that, now that, the Columbus Consolidated Government has a group of people that can actually go after, national grants and those kind of things.
Correct.
And we are doing that. But
Correct.
it is listed on the
Okay.
historic registry. I think
Because I know people are going to ask, do we have a target date for the reopening of the theater?
I wish that I could tell you that. And people ask that all the time, but I can't say that we have one specifically because we really can't do anything to assess what we need to actually do until we can physically get back into the building.
Okay.
But the roof is being repaired as we speak.
Okay.
The HVAC will be put in right after that, and we'll kind of go in and determine exactly what we want to do. Because again, we really want to do it right.
Right.
You know, I have my ideas of things that I really
Yeah.
like to see in there. I would love to see some kind of museum where we actually kind of pay tribute to the local artist community here.
Right.
But yeah, so I think it's going to be a great day when it's open. But give us time, to do it. Several buildings around the city, have gone through renovations and remodeling.
Correct.
And we've kind of given it time to do that. So give us time to do that. But it is happening.
Absolutely.
It is happening.
Okay, good. Well, Oz, thank you so much for
Sure.
stopping by today, right
Sure.
here on Columbus Connection, and sitting down and talking about the Centennial Gala.
Absolutely.
And of course, all of the events that are happening prior to and after that. We want to continue to support the Liberty Theater and your efforts as well. And if there's anything that we can do, just let us know.
Absolutely.
Let us know.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching another episode of Columbus Connection, of course, with your host, Chris Kelly, and of course, our illustrious guest, Mr. Oz Roberts. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
Hi there, everybody in Columbus, Georgia. Deborah Roberts here on the 2020 set, getting ready for our program tonight. But I wanted to take a minute to say it is an absolute privilege to serve as one of the honorary chairs for the Liberty Theater Centennial Gala. This iconic venue has hosted legendary performers who have shared the landscape and shaped the landscape there with music and entertainment. The energy, of course, of Duke Ellington and the electrifying performances of Cab Calloway right there on the Liberty stage. These artists, among many others, have contributed to the rich legacy of the Liberty Theater, as so many of you know. Each performance has been a celebration of talent, of creativity, and the unifying power of music. So, as we commemorate this incredible centennial milestone, we want to invite all of you to be a part of this celebration. And it's not just about honoring the past, it's also about ensuring a vibrant future as we reimagine the rebirth of this historic Liberty Theater. The most important thing you all can do right now is to purchase tickets for the gala. It's going to be held on Friday, April 11th, and this is your chance to join in on a night filled with entertainment, memories, and a tribute to the legacy of this amazing venue. So don't miss out, get your tickets, and all of us should just come together to celebrate 100 years of unforgettable performances and community spirit. So let's make this a night to remember. And I just want to wish you all the best as we link arms for the Liberty Theater.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, again to another episode of Columbus Connection. I've been sitting here with Mr. Oz Roberts, and we've been talking about the Liberty Theater, all of its great history from all of the greats down throughout music history, and of course, even into the acting industry as well. We have a 100-year celebration. It's called the Centennial Gala, the soul of the community. That is Friday, April the 11th at 6:30 p.m. at the Columbus, Georgia Convention and Trade Center. And of course, I know some of you all will ask this question. The attire is a black tie affair. On March the 1st, we have the Liberty Theater 5K run. Matter of fact, we've already had that. March the 20th, we have the Liberty Theater press conference. And I think that's going to be right on the grounds of the Liberty Theater. We have the historic kickoff on April the 5th. April the 11th, we have, of course, again, the Centennial Gala. April the 12th, we have the Festival of Short Films. April the 26th, we have a talent show, and I think that's going to be at the Page Dolman complex there, literally right across the street from the Liberty Theater. As a matter of fact, I had my wedding there on this past Saturday. May the 3rd, an afternoon of jazz. That's going to be at the Getch's house, correct? May the 9th through the 11th, we have the Ma Fest, an ode to Ma Rainey. It's a black bottom experience. I think her movie is still on Netflix. And then, of course, on May 17th, we have the Gospel Extravaganza, and that is in collaboration with Davis Broadcasting, and that's going to be at Woodruff Park.
That's right.
You can purchase your tickets today at the libertytheaterga.org, libertytheaterga.org. We have amazing guests that are coming. I'm not going to take the time to read all of them because you have to show up So go and get your tickets today again at libertytheaterga.org. Yes, sir.
But I did want to say one thing that I did not talk about at the gala. We're actually going to also honor several people that evening as well.
Okay.
And it's not a surprise to them because they've been notified of their that they're going to receive these awards. And I just want to let the community know who those people are.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
So right now we're going to honor Miss Jackie Egan's, and Jackie Egan's did lots and lots and lots of musicals that she directed at the Liberty Theater.
I was in one of her musicals in honor of the Liberty Theater about 3 years ago.
That's
and
right.
we did it at the River Center.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So Jackie Egan's has a long history with that.
Yeah,
the Honorable Calvin Smyrie
Okay.
and Congressman Sanford D. Bishop.
Okay.
They've done things over the years where they've actually done some incredible fundraising for the Liberty to kind of keep it up and running as long as it did. So we're going to actually honor them as well.
Okay.
D.P. Nesbitt. D.P. Nesbitt, I mentioned earlier, is the father of Jettie Nesbitt, who's going to be there to receive an award posthumously for her father. Her father was a gentleman that actually booked a lot of those acts in the early days of the Liberty Theater. The Links Incorporated. If you go to the theater right now, you'll see some stars that are out there that the Links Incorporated did to kind of better and beautify the grounds. The Golden Owlets, who actually have done some amazing things as well in developing and keeping the Liberty going. And one person that I did not mention is a woman by the name of Amy Sherald. Amy Sherald is an amazing artist, and Amy is world-renowned because she actually did the painting of Michelle Obama.
Wow.
Yeah, and Amy will not be able to join us, but because Amy is actually opening several art exhibitions, I would say around the world, because she's got one opening in California, one in New York at the Whitney, and another one in Germany.
Wow.
So Amy is going to be honored that evening as well. So those are the great things that we're doing to honor people too.
That is awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching another episode of Columbus Connection. We trust you enjoyed. And as always, God bless you.